everybody. Welcome to another episode of Friends Talking Nerdy. This is Tim Jousma.
And this is Kim, the Geek on Twitter.
All right. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I took a little break.
Yeah.
Things were kind of rough there for a bit. I had my grandmother pass. I had a filling fall out and get infected. And I had some crown drama. Let me tell you, middle of a pandemic, not a good time to have problems with your teeth and then realize how much your dental insurance sucks.
Yeah. It's
just great. But everything is looking up because I got my permanent crown finally today. My mouth feels fine. Allergy medicine is working. I'm not wheezing, not sneezing.
That would have made for an interesting episode.
Yeah, exactly. Wheezing and coughing, they'll be like, she's got the corona. I'm like, no, it's the seasonal allergies. But yeah, I've got the nasal spray on board. I got 2 different oral meds on board. I've got my albuterol inhaler for when it gets really bad. And today was a good day.
We are the most contagious podcast in the United States.
Yeah, we're contagious. We're outrageous and contagious.
Yeah. Before we get into the show proper, we did open up a Discord server.
Oh. You can just see exactly how much time I spend playing Elder Scrolls when I'm not at work.
Yeah. From what I'm seeing, I'm still relatively new to Discord myself, but what I'm seeing, I think it's going to be great the more people we get on, of course.
Yeah.
For just the engagement. I mean, it reminds me a lot of message boards in the 90s.
Oh, I know, message boards and what were those called? BBSs, was that it? Bulletin board systems, yeah.
Yeah, something
where you had to dial into them and... Oh, God, we're old, Tim.
Yeah, I'm sure Luke, my son, has his own channel on the Discord server, but, I'm sure he would...
He's a character.
A little bit, yeah. So, in the show notes, we're going to have a link to it, depending on the type of podcast server you have. Like, I know with Apple Podcasts, the majority of the people that listen to the show listen to the show via Apple Podcast. When I put the link in the show description, it'll just be a matter of you tapping that link, and then we'll bring you to the Discord page.
And what's cool about Discord is you can use it both on a computer and on your phone.
Yeah.
And on a tablet. So you can, and then you can basically, if you're on multiple Discord servers, it's really nice interface, I find, because I'm in multiple Discord servers for the guilds that I'm in Elder Scrolls Online. Plus, I'm in a server for I don't know if you guys heard of Jackbox games, like the You Don't Know Jack games. Anyway, they have their own Discord server where they do online gaming and stuff. So I'm in one in their server. There's all kinds of Discord servers for all kinds of different interests, and it's one way to stay connected when we can't meet up in person right now.
And that's what we want to do. I mean, the hope that any podcast has when they use a service like this is to essentially grow their community. And the way to grow their community is through engagement. And I think something like this is going to be a great way for that. Kind of the best hybrid of what Twitter and Facebook have to offer.
I think so, definitely.
So, So, again, if you're listening and you see that link in the show description for the Discord, we definitely recommend checking it out. I mean, it's not going to hurt. And we got a bunch of different topics that, we're trying to get some conversation going with. We do got some people there already, so it's not just me and my son talking to each other. But... join the fun. Now, speaking of fun, you've been watching TV.
Oh, gosh. I just came into the room after watching their most recent episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, and I'm all like, oh my God, so excited. This episode that just passed. Oh my God. Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So,
oh my God.
We've talked about the whole sherry pie controversy. And, even without that controversy, what's interesting I've noticed as the show's gone on, as the season's gone on, you can tell which episodes they decided later, the first few episodes they have her as a regular contestant, basically. I think the first 2 or 3 episodes she's a regular contestant, where they do they cut away to them in their boy drag, where they're making comments about what happened during the episode, that sort of thing. It's typical reality show stuff. Yeah, she hasn't been doing that in the last, I think, 3 episodes. And when they do runway and then they do critiques, they cut her out of that.
Oh, no, they didn't.
Oh, no, they didn't. They still show her going down the runway, but at the end of the runway where RuPaul says, like, so-and-so, 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 step forward. You are safe. You can go to the back of the stage. Yeah, they don't show her stepping forward or anything.
RuPaul's like, get your nasty ass off the stage.
Pretty much. So that's been kind of interesting. But let me tell you, there is a hell of a lot of talent this season. Season 12, it's freaking amazing. The episode I just watched, holy shit. Holy shit, Tim. Holy shit.
Holy shit. What happened?
Oh my god. Okay, so...
It's not just shit, it's holy shit.
So the topic of the episode is Madonna the Rusical. Ooh. So they have all of them doing various Madonnas from her career in a what they call a Rusical, which is basically kind of a parody of a bunch of her songs that's done by, you know, some composer and stuff. Where the girls record and they do choreography, and it was just amazing. And one of the guest judges this week, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC herself. Yes. This is the second or third time I've seen a political representative on the show. Nancy Pelosi came on one time to just sort of step into the workroom and say, hey girls, keep up the good work, and then walked out. No, she's a fan. AOC is a friggin' fan of this show, and she was just like, they kept cutting to her. She's just like, the joy in her face was just...
Something about, I mean, like, I remember that college video that conservatives
where she was like dancing and singing on a roof.
Yeah, and conservatives, you know, how dare she, fuck you.
I know.
She was having fun.
It wasn't like she was dancing around like naked or being like gross. She was just like dancing around, smiling and having a good time.
I mean, the only way it would be gross would be like if she was like pouring like a used litter box on her and she's naked. If she's naked, she's naked.
Or like
who cares?
Abusing animals or doing something awful like that.
Or singing like my sister.
Your sister's a saint to have to deal with you as a brother, I tell you. Anyway, this is a great... If you haven't watched RuPaul's Drag Race before, you're stuck inside, now's a great time to start. And this season is a fucking good season. It is worth the money if you buy it on Amazon or Apple or any of the other services that has it. This is good TV. It will make you happy. You'll be excited and joyous, and you can tell how freaking excited I am right now because you know what? When this quarantine lifts and everybody can go outside again, these girls are going to tour. I'm going to probably get to see some of them perform live. I am so fucking excited.
With all the antihistamines Kim has taken, she's taken a 20-minute topic. And...
I know. I've taken this little topic and gone, ah! So, yeah. Yeah, no, it's just, you know, with the distancing and all this stuff. Now I'm going to cry. It's been really hard. And when you can find something and just have... It's like, this is the first really good day I've had in probably a month and a half. Now I'm crying. Thank you, mental illness.
Well, that's emotion. I mean, everybody's emotions are, you know, rubbed raw, but that is the beauty of entertainment.
Yeah.
And kind of the beauty of, and we'll go into it later, but instead of a regular album choice this week, I decided to go a little bit different. So we're going to be, we'll go into a bit.
We'll go into it in a bit.
It's a theme. But
basically, when you're having, it's a hard time right now for everybody. Mm-hmm. Find those bright spots and fucking enjoy them.
Damn right.
Damn right. Okay. You talk now.
All right.
Will I get myself together?
All right. On that note, oh man, what a segue, and you'll know why I say that in a second here.
Dear.
I've been enjoying season 2 of a show that's on Vice.
Oh.
Yeah, and that show is called Dark Side of the Ring. Season 2 came out. Have you heard of it?
It's ringing a bell. But I haven't seen it.
Probably something I've told you about.
Probably.
With as much as I love wrestling. It
is. I know. See, he loves wrestling, and you know how excited he can get about wrestling. What you just heard was me getting excited about my sport, which is drag.
and I know drag performers that are wrestling fans, and they'll be the first to tell you there's a lot of similarities,
and that's probably why we get along.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right, Dark Side of the Ring is one hell of a quality documentary show. What they do for each episode is they either take an event or they take a particular topic and do a deep dive on it. As a long time, I consider myself a hardcore wrestling fan.
I would consider you a hardcore wrestling fan.
Yeah, I mean, to me, a hardcore wrestling fan is going to be one that's going to, ask them what happened in 1988 in June, they're probably going to be able to tell you. And they're going to know all the history of the business and know if something that's being said is right or wrong. And over and over again, the Dark Side of the Ring folks have shown great respect for the world of professional wrestling by being honest. And they're getting some really great names on there. But season 2, they started off with quite the emotional roller coaster. It was a 2-part episode. We've actually touched upon it a couple episodes back.
Was this the Chris Benoit?
Yeah, it's a two-part documentary on the life and tragic death of Chris Benoit. And wow, just... I think I told you a little bit about, how much it really affected me at that time. But, in a lot of ways, as someone who did not know Chris Benoit whatsoever, I only saw him on television. I didn't know him personally, but how he, ended up murdering his family and killing himself. It might as well have been a family member for as much as I was emotionally hurt by what happened, and I know millions of fans around the world feel the same way. But watching these 2 episodes was really cathartic and healing in a lot of ways. Some of the big takeaways, like one, I know Jim Ross was on the show, and he used to work for WWE as an executive and their lead announcer. Now he works with AEW, which is why he's on that show. And he relayed a story about no, he didn't do it. It was Nancy Benoit's sister relayed a story about how he showed up. He was the only person to show up to Nancy and Daniel Benoit's funeral. And she was upset because he was the only WWE guy that showed up, and at the time she thought it was disrespectful, and basically at the funeral got into his face and said, "Don't show up to the wake afterwards." But interesting story to add to that is on the as we record this, the previous episode of Grillin' JR, Jim Ross's weekly podcast with Conrad Thompson as the host, the guy from Alabama that you really love.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about his voice. Oh. Anyway, sorry. He's probably a really nice guy, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jim Ross actually relayed a story. He told, his side, and how, anybody would feel absolutely uncomfortable being in a situation, but he made it clear that, as someone who was a fan of Chris Benoit's work throughout his life, as someone who was a fan of Nancy Benoit's work, because she was actually, one good thing about the episode is that it really did a good job of kind of spotlighting how groundbreaking Nancy, her maiden name was Tofalani, I believe, is how you pronounce it, and how groundbreaking her work as a valet was. And that's one sad thing that this whole tragedy has done. It's kind of taken her legacy and just tossed it in the garbage, because by honoring her, you're going to bring up the tragedy and you're going to bring up him. But one thing that Jim Ross mentioned is that as mentioned in the documentary, Nancy's sister told him to leave. However, Jim Ross mentioned that recently, within the past month, Nancy's sister actually sent him an email and apologized. And they were able to, have a healing moment at that point.
Yeah, it's so hard when you're in the throes of grief to, see things clearly. I'm sure that he'd shown up to the funeral just as a sign that he was really sorry about what had happened.
He was, but he was also directed to go there by Vince McMahon.
Oh, that's shitty.
So
Vince McMahon, I hope at least that they'd sent flowers or something, or made some donation to charity. in the kid's memory or something like that.
I don't know. And based on interviews in the show, because they did interview David Benoit, Chris Benoit's living son, in the episode, essentially after everything happened, he was no longer invited to WWE events, and he was just a kid. He talked about the only wrestlers that would have any sort of contact with him after the fact was Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Chris Jericho. But the beauty, I think, of that 2-part episode is the ending of episode 2, because they had both Sandra, Nancy's sister, and David Benoit both talked about how because of this they ended up losing each other, because I guess what happened, what Sandy mentioned in the episode, was that she was told that David wanted to have nothing to do with her, and David said that he was told the exact opposite, that she wanted nothing to do with him. But there's a happy ending there. Chris Jericho got them together, and the ending of the episode was David Benoit and Sandra Toffolani together. Jericho invited them to the AEW event All Out, and they were able to reconnect. And after everything that happened, after everything we discussed in the previous episode about the David Benoit interview, honestly, that part made me cry, because it was kind of like the ending of Schindler's List, when just after everything that happened, what made me break down and cry after watching Schindler's List was the ending.
I never saw Schindler's List.
Wow.
I never saw Schindler's List.
Well, it's set during World War II. He does his best.
I know the basic plot. I just never saw it because I thought that it was going to be way too difficult for me to watch.
It was, because it's like intense, and then by the time the war is over, there's this part where Oscar Schindler just kind of breaks down and just like, I could have sold my watch, I could have saved one more person, I could have done this, I could have done that.
Second guessing yourself is the worst.
Everybody else was just like, you did your best. And at that point, that's when I lost it. But they did one hell of a good job, because the information was accurate. They care about professional wrestling, and it shows in their presentation. It gave a great showcase for what Nancy Benoit did, and I think the WWE should really consider inducting Nancy Toffolani into their Hall of Fame, because again, as a valet, she did some great work in both WCW. She was Ric Flair's valet for a while, and that says something. In ECW, she was the valet of the Sandman. She would come to the ring and light his cigarettes after he got into the ring, and she would carry like a Singapore cane and hit people. And I mean, she was just vicious. She was great. But just those episodes were great. They had another episode on New Jack. He was a wrestler in ECW, a little on the insane side.
I think I remember that guy.
He was featured in the 1999 documentary Beyond the Mat. But with New Jack, they showcased his 3 big controversial moments in his career. One was the mass transit incident. There was a kid who was 17 who showed up at an ECW show and lied about his age to be able to get in the ring, and this kid was like 400 pounds at least. Now the kid, once he was backstage, started acting like he was a veteran, and then went to New Jack and says, when I get in the ring, I want to do this, this, and this. And then New Jack got pissed and then basically just almost mutilated him in the ring. Geez. I mean, because the ECW at the time was known for hardcore wrestling, and he did a hard way shot in terms of making the guy bleed, and he's 17, kind of bleeding everywhere, and you can hear his father. They call it the mass transit incident. There was another incident in 2001 where he was facing off in a scaffold match against a guy named Vic Grimes, I believe the guy's name was. About a year previously, the guy, ended up hurting New Jack, like fracturing his skull. And so New Jack thought it was a great idea in a scaffold match. Now, the scaffold was like 20 feet above the ring. The ring had like 3 rows of tables stacked on top of each other. And New Jack was still pissed about being injured because he said, the other guy did not, contact him for an apology or anything like that. So New Jack brought a taser onto the scaffold. Got the guy shocked him with the taser, and the guy's like, I can't feel my legs. And according to New Jack, he said, well, you're not going to need him. Bombs away. Threw the guy off the scaffold, and just by inches, he was able to land in a spot where it wasn't the concrete floor.
Oh my god. So is this scaffold like made of metal?
It was like above the ring. I mean, it was a wide enough scaffold matches used to be big in the 70s and 80s. Mm-hmm. Real dangerous. They should not have happened. The whole point is kind of like a king of the hill type of thing. You knock your opponent off. If they fall off, you win.
Because if that scaffold is metal and you're shocking someone with a taser and the electricity doesn't have anywhere to ground, yeah, no wonder you couldn't feel his friggin' legs.
Yeah, and
wow.
Yeah, but it talked about New Jack, and New Jack is definitely an interesting character. The latest episode 4, talked about a little tournament that the WWE had in '98 called the Brawl for All, and it was the dumbest idea in wrestling history. What they decided was to take 16 of their performers, lower card performers who didn't get much TV time, and create a tournament based on real fighting.
Okay.
Which ended up causing a lot of injuries and ended up doing nothing for anybody involved. And but again, how they tell the story, they do a lot of deep dives and character focuses on this. Like one of the performers was a guy named Darren Drozdov. And they talk about his performance in the Brawl for All, but are also able to talk about the fact that a year later he had a tragic accident in the ring and has been paralyzed ever since. Droz was in good spirits in being interviewed, and I've heard him in various interviews over the years. When it comes to the accident, he would be the first to say that what they do is not ballet. He does not blame his opponent. He does not believe his opponent had any intention of hurting him. He believed it was just simply an accident. But I believe they talked about that as a way to kind of combat the whole wrestling is fake type of deal, because people that say fake, that's
choreographed, not fake.
Choreographed, yeah. So but they got some other episodes coming up. The one I'm really looking forward to, they're doing an episode on the Owen Hart death.
Oh.
And they're getting an interview with Owen Hart's widow and his son.
That's going to be heartbreaking.
It is, but if it is half as good as the Chris Benoit episodes, it's going to be really good. So whether you're a wrestling fan or not, if you like good documentaries, I highly recommend this. The beauty of this is that the guys making it are definitely fans of professional wrestling, so the information you're going to get is going to be honest, and but it's just really well done.
Cool.
So.
All right, we've nerded out about our favorite topics.
Well, speaking of favorites,
let's go on to another favorite topic of ours.
Yeah,
movies.
Now,
we love movies, and that is the one, definitely one of the biggest heartbreaking things about this stupid pandemic. We haven't been able to go to the movies, and I miss going to the movies. I want to go to the movies.
Yeah.
When this is over, we got to go to the movies. We got to go to Fat Dave's. It's going to be like our first big outing.
I'm down with that.
All right. If you don't know what Fat Dave's is, it's this diner here in Vancouver. It's kind of a trashy diner.
Kind of? I mean, it is.
It is. It's trashy, but you know what? It's clean. The food's fucking good.
Yeah.
So if you like just American diner food, Fat Dave's, Vancouver, Washington.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for gluten-free, it's not there.
It's not there.
It's all grease. It's great.
Yeah, it's just classic diner food, 24 hours.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Now, what Kim and I have been doing over the past couple of weeks here is talking about our top 5 favorite movies from particular years.
Yes.
When we started out, it was our 5 favorite movies from the year we were born.
Yep.
Last week, it was the 5 favorite movies from the year we were 10. Obviously, you took a break
I
last
took a break.
week.
I was just not. I was not having it.
Understandable.
It was just rough. I was having a bad time, but I'm feeling great today. Feeling great today.
It's like John Astin in Night Court when he was Harry Anderson's father, but I'm feeling much better now.
Much better.
But
if you like Drag Race, that's a
before we talk about our top 5 favorite movies from the year we were 20, I wanted to hear your top 5 favorite movies from the year you were 10.
From when I was 10.
Let's drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please. Yeah, we can't do drum rolls. Okay. Classic. Return of the Jedi. This is 1983, by the way. 1983. Return of the Jedi.
Can't go wrong with that.
No. War Games.
Never saw it.
You never saw War Games?
Matthew Broderick's a bitch. He killed a man.
Matthew Broderick. Okay, I don't know about this Kill a Man, but I like him. I think he's a good actor.
He did, I believe.
And this was a good movie.
I haven't seen the movie, so I can't say up or down. But
if anything, watch it now for the retro computer technology.
But in 85, 86, I believe, Matthew Broderick was in England and was in a car accident that resulted in a man dying. So Matthew Broderick killed a man.
But he didn't do it on purpose, I'm sure.
He still killed a man. So when you see Ferris Bueller, just know he's a murderer.
He's not. That's not murder. That's vehicular manslaughter.
Okay.
Because manslaughter is when you end up killing somebody, but you didn't intend to because it's an accident. It's an accident. Accidents happen. He's not a freaking murderer. All right, 1983. Terms of Endearment. I know this is. I guess this qualifies as a chick flick, but you know what? It is one of the better movies from the 80s in terms of trauma. If you want a tearjerker, this is a tearjerker. I mean, every time I watch this movie, I cry like a baby. But you know what? There's sometimes when you know you need to cry, but it just isn't coming for whatever reason. This is my go-to.
Now, you say it's a chick flick, but the book and I believe the script for that movie was written by a man by the name of Larry McMurtry.
Yeah,
Larry Lonesome Dove.
Yeah, Larry McMurtry did write this, but the thing about Larry McMurtry, I've read a couple of his books. He writes female characters very well.
He's a good writer. Yeah,
he's just a good writer.
Yeah, not knocking him at all. It's just, it's one of those deals that don't assume because it's something like a chick flick that it was written by a 40-year-old woman or something.
It's got Jack Nicholson in it, and he Jack Nicholson's Jack Nicholson. He's always cool. He's always cool. Yeah. So, A Christmas Story was released in 83. I like that movie a lot. I just remember the first time I ever saw it. We rented it on videotape, and the whole family, me, my sister, my mom, my dad, we all sat down to watch it, and we were all just rolling on the floor laughing. Literally, we were just laughing, all of us, so hard. And it is rare that you find a movie that gets every single member of your family laughing consistently without being offensive or gross or weird or embarrassing. It was just all around a funny movie. Well written. The book is good. It's just a great movie. It's good.
I mean, it's a little overplayed for me. So
it's overplayed now, but when I first saw it,
I mean, it's just it's good. I'm not gonna watch it again just because it's been overplayed, but I'm not gonna knock.
It's one of my favorite Christmas movies.
And Peter Billingsley, I think I mentioned on the show before. I forgot the character name in the movie. Ralphie, yeah, he was in Iron Man and Spider-Man: Far From Home. He played the scientist that Jeff Bridges yells at in the original Iron Man, and he's bald.
I know, and I think he does some voice work as well.
Yeah,
I think he does voice work for video games.
Yeah, and I think he's done directing. I mean, he's kept busy.
Yeah, he's probably got like a good amount of residual money.
Yeah.
From this movie too. All right, so my last movie from 1983 is Mr. Mom.
Michael Keaton's breakout, I believe.
Michael Keaton, Terry Garr. Basically, what happens is Michael Keaton gets laid off. Set in Michigan, and he works for one of the car manufacturers. He gets laid off, and so his wife is like, all right, I guess I'm gonna like go back to work. This was kind of revolutionary for the time, for 83. I'm gonna go back to work. So he has to stay home with the kids, and it's kind of about like, you know, the role reversal and adjusting, and then at the end I'm realizing, you know, they go through some ups and downs, and at the end they realize, well, we really do love each other and we'll make this work. And is
this like one of those like cliche ones, like he tries to put on a diaper, lifts the baby up thinking it's successful, and then the diaper falls off?
It's not quite that cliche. It's more like things that he didn't realize, like he's trying to do a million things at once because he's got a baby and 2 younger boys, and like the baby eats chili, and then there's a big joke about stinky diapers, and you know, there's a few gross out jokes, but overall I think it's a good movie. It's another one of those that you can sit with your family and watch and not be embarrassed about anything in it. Because you know, when you're a kid and you're watching a movie that's maybe rated R and there's something racy happening, or there's sex on this screen, and you're just like, I'm here with my mom, I don't want to...
Dad, what's that?
No, I don't want to see this with my mom.
Why is that man hurting that woman?
All right, so now we're talking the year we were 20.
The year we were 20.
For me, that was 1993.
1996 for me.
God. So do I want me to go first then? Are we going to go back and forth, or do you want me to just go through all of mine?
Elderly first.
Thanks. All right, so 1993. There's some good ones here, and there's one that I know you're going to hate. Jurassic Park is one of them.
Garbage.
One of these. Really?
I hate that movie.
I like Jurassic Park. I like the first one because it was the wonder of seeing all those... I was a dinosaur nerd, so seeing all those dinosaurs, and
I mean, on a technical level, sure, I appreciate the movie for what it did, but it was just Steven Spielberg not trying that hard.
Yeah, I think it was all like me going, dinosaurs, and that's why I liked it so much.
I think it was just him with, you know, like bright shiny colors, ooh, and just mediocre at best.
All right, Groundhog Day.
Classic.
I love this movie. I love Groundhog Day. Yeah. You can't go wrong with freaking Bill Murray. I mean, seriously, Bill Murray's just... I don't think there's been a Bill Murray movie that I've seen that I haven't liked.
How about Bill Murray and the Fantastic Four as the Human Torch that we've been showcasing here on the Friends Talking Nerdy channel?
I heard some of it today for the first time because I've been on kind of voice overload. I've been listening to a lot of music because just people talking is really... I don't know. I'm going through a weird phase. This pandemic is doing weird things to me. So I've been listening to more music than podcasts lately. So I haven't been listening to the radio opera. But as I was getting ready to go to the dentist to get my tooth fixed for the final time, yay! 4 dentist visits in 2 weeks. Don't recommend it. Anyway.
Don't do cocaine before you do the podcast.
No. The thing is that I'll tell you why I'm so hyper right now. It's because I went to the grocery store yesterday for I got enough food to last us 2 weeks. And so because I went to Winco where they have a big bulk food section, and they've closed down the bulk food section, so they had a lot of their bulk Easter candy portioned out in individual containers, and they had the speckled jelly beans that I love so much. And so I was playing Elder Scrolls Online and watching Drag Race and munching jelly beans. So,
I am the great cornholio.
Yeah, I need TP for my bunghole. But yes, yeah. So Bill Murray, I was I'm putting my socks on, and Tim's playing this, and I'm like, what the fuck? That's Bill Murray. It's so weird and jarring because I'm picturing Dr. Venkman with the Fantastic Four.
Flame on.
Anyway, Mrs. Doubtfire was also released in 1993, and I like that movie.
Okay.
It was one of my introductions to drag.
I didn't like it.
I liked it. Yeah. All right, True Romance was also released in 1993.
I should see it. I mean, you would think.
You haven't seen it?
I have not seen True Romance.
Oh, that's a fucking great movie. That's a great movie. You really should see True Romance.
I mean, written by Quentin Tarantino. I mean...
Yeah, and it's got, all these people, and just the, the little bit part that Brad Pitt did in that movie is worth watching. It's so good.
Okay.
Oh, it's a great movie. Anyway, so then my last on the list that I liked from 1993, The Nightmare Before Christmas.
The first movie I ever walked out.
I know Tim hates this movie. I love this movie, and I know other people out there love this movie. It was released in 1993.
And for people that love this movie, love that movie. I'm giving my opinion.
It's pretty polarizing, though, actually, I think, because a lot of people I know, there's really not much middle ground with that movie. They really either like it or they really, really hate it. And what's funny is my mom kind of falls into the hate camp, because I remember it was a few years ago, my condo flooded, and I had to live with my mom for like 3.5 months while they fixed it.
Oof.
And so I was watching Netflix, and I was watching Nightmare Before Christmas because I was in a crappy mood, and I like the songs, and those always cheer me up. And I'm watching it, and she's just like, walks in, she's like, what is this? I'm just like, it's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Haven't you seen it? She's like, this looks awful, and walks out of the room.
Okay.
So
we agree on something.
All right. Yeah. So you were 20 in 1996.
Yes, 1996. Did some research, looked through the list of films released that year. 96 was kind of, in a lot of ways, a transition year in Hollywood. There was no real big standout, if you think about it.
Wasn't there a writer's strike around that time?
It's possible.
There were a few writer's strikes throughout, like, the 90s and the 2000s.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah. But just going through the list, I was able to pick my 5, but, I was surprised at just how little, movies of impact really came from that era. It's not like 1982, where, in 1982, people kind of consider that a lost year in Hollywood, even though you had your E.T.s, you had your Star Trek 2s come out.
Frickin' E.T. I love that movie. I love E.T.
I was going to say, when them's fighting.
No. E.T. E.T. was the very first movie I saw in a theater that I cried in the theater. Yeah. And that was when, in 1982, I would have been 9.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, my list for 1996, my top 5. Let's start off with The Craft.
Oh, I like The Craft.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
Got Neve Campbell, Rachel True, Fairuza Balk. She was in, and I still haven't seen it yet on Disney Plus, but Return to Oz.
Oh, I haven't watched that either.
Yeah, that is.
But yeah, that's supposed to be one of the scariest movies ever.
Yeah, imagine having a main villain that can change your head and have a room full of like different heads.
That's
yeah.
You know what? I bet you that's where what's his name who wrote Game of Thrones got his idea for like the removable faces.
Possibly. Because that's
George R. R.
That's directly from the books. So
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me because he does do a few. As much as I like Game of Thrones, he does have a few derivative things in his books.
Nothing necessarily wrong with derivative unless you go like the Vanilla Ice route,
or you just go
literally, or the lazy route.
The lazy route. Yeah.
Like I know when I reviewed comic books, there was one comic that somebody sent me, and I had to be honest and just tell that person that your comic came off as too much of an Indiana Jones ripoff. And it just was the same type of beats and just nothing really original with it. Now, there is no such thing as an original story. Everything's derivative off of something else. Yeah, but you gotta make it your own. You gotta spice it up,
you can do like the college professor archaeology guy as an adventure novel.
But I'm Michigan Smith. No.
That's funny, Michigan Smith.
Yeah.
That should be your drag name.
No, I'm just thinking Michigan J. Frog. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal.
But no, you could totally do like an archaeology adventure. Like a college professor guy goes on adventures and stuff, and not make it, Indiana Jones-esque.
Yeah, they did that. Tomb Raider.
Yeah, lots of people have done that. There's this whole series, I think, on TNT called The Librarians, where they basically go on like archaeology type adventures for a library that they're keepers of.
Yeah, that show is no more, but it was actually filmed in Portland, and that's how I got to see John Larroquette.
Oh yeah, there were some parts of that filmed in Portland. That's right.
Yeah,
there was actually a few shows that were on TNT that were all being filmed in the Portland area at one point.
Yeah. All right, the next on my list, one of the few Michael Bay movies I kind of like, and that's The Rock.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I mean, it's Michael Bay doing what he does best. I think Michael Bay for action movies is perfect. You know, I mean, because you're not going to get something in depth. It's not going to be thought provoking, but you know, he knows cinematography. He knows how to make stuff look great, and for an action movie, that can really help. When he tries to do historical fiction romance with Pearl Harbor, garbage. Armageddon, garbage. Transformers, dumpster fire. But
okay, Transformers, the first one I liked. The rest of them are dumpster fire. And I think the first one was kind of like with me with Jurassic Park going, Transformers! And
you know, the Transformers...
Because I loved the Transformers cartoons.
So did I. I mean, they were marketed to me.
They weren't marketed to me, but I liked them anyway.
And that's good. But it's, you know, apart from having the same guy voice Optimus Prime, you know, it just... The Transformers movies, I heard Bumblebee is really good.
I don't know. I can't stand that actress.
I know John Cena's in it, so who knows how good it is. But
well,
anyway,
I like John Cena. I like to look at him.
Calm down. She's like, my.
Oh,
fiddly-dee.
Yeah, just call me Blanche Devereaux.
Yeah. All right, next on my list is a sequel, Escape from L.A.
Oh, I like this one actually. It had a really good soundtrack.
I loved. I mean, the soundtrack was kind of derivative from Tarantino. There were that movie and Desperado from Robert Rodriguez. You could tell they were trying to do their best Quentin Tarantino impression. But having said that, Escape from LA has its great moments, and I loved the trailer because it had the classic Kurt Russell line, "I'm gonna throw this can in the air, and when it hits the ground, draw." Throws a can in the air, kills everybody. The can hits the ground. Draw.
Kurt Russell's a badass.
He is, and Escape from L.A. is essentially the same movie as Escape from New York,
but it's in L.A.
But it's in L.A. You get a great cameo from Bruce Campbell playing a deranged plastic surgeon. You get Peter Fonda.
Yeah, I haven't seen this in a while. I should watch that again.
It's I mean, it's not John Carpenter's best, but even John Carpenter at his most mediocre is still going to be
better than a lot of movies. Yeah.
All right, next on my list, Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, I liked this. This was the remake that Baz Luhrmann did.
Yeah,
right?
Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes.
Oh,
I've
God.
always had such a crush on her.
Oh, really? This one had a good soundtrack.
Good soundtrack, and you know, I know some people didn't like it. You know, the culture snobs didn't like it because they gave it a modern look. You know, everybody dressed modern. The sword, like
the guns were like named Rapier and
they pull out a gun and sort of like broadsword on it, and
yeah.
You know,
oh gosh, I loved this one. This is a good pick. I like this pick.
Yeah, and to me, the reason I liked it is the fact that, you know, they did by putting it in a modern setting. The modern audiences were more likely to pay attention to the story compared to, you know, just doing a traditional period piece.
Well, it just, you know, it makes Shakespeare exciting for younger audiences.
And it makes it relatable.
And that's the key when it comes to trying to teach the classics in general, is how do you make them relatable and enjoyable? Yeah. And that's one way, is to sort of modernize them. And gosh, the colors and the cinematography in that movie.
They modernized it, but really they didn't water it down.
Exactly.
I mean, it's still Shakespeare, and it's still great.
It was really great. And what was crazy to me was seeing John Leguizamo doing Shakespeare, because I always think of him as just some goofy guy, or like in Tu Wong Fu when he's playing the baby drag queen. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, this is a good choice. I like this movie a lot.
All right, last but not least, is a cinematic classic. Up in the realms with stuff like Citizen Kane. We got Beavis and Butthead Do America.
I was gonna say, you're gonna do Beavis and Butthead, aren't you? Yeah. It's not up there with Citizen Kane, but this movie was pretty good. I actually went and saw this in the theater, and I nearly wet myself. I was laughing so freaking hard.
But it shows just how great of a writer Mike Judge is.
Oh, I know. Mike Judge is a genius. He's a freaking genius.
I mean, on our Discord, after Professor Aubrey helped me set it up to kind of test it out, we did movie watch-along. She'd never watched Idiocracy before.
She'd never seen Idiocracy?
She'd never seen Idiocracy. And I had been quoting stuff in the past, it's what planets crave, and she never got it. But
yeah, every time I drink Gatorade, I'm like, it's what planets crave.
But Mike Judge, even on the original Beavis and Butthead, was a great writer because Beavis and Butthead was never thought-provoking humor; it was dick jokes. But to get the biggest laughs, you have to be able to know how to pace the jokes, and he was an expert. He is an expert at that.
Office Space.
Great movie.
When I find somebody and I can quote Office Space to them and they know exactly what I'm talking about, I know that I'm going to immediately be friends with them. And that was what happened with my buddy Jake, who's no longer working with me, unfortunately. But when I first met him, I said like something from Office Space. He got it immediately and we just were instantly friends. And I got him a red stapler for his birthday.
Well, with Beavis and Butthead Do America, my favorite part, Robert Stack is an FBI agent who's tracking them down throughout the movie.
Oh, that's right.
And
I haven't seen this one in a while either.
Loves to give everybody anal probes, and then at the end of the movie,
that's right.
At the end of the movie, Butthead is captured by the FBI, given an anal probe, and then what happens? You see the FBI guys exit like a police truck, and you see Butthead sitting there, and he's like, "Did I just score?" So,
oh my god, I swear, there's like this, I have like an inner 12-year-old boy sometimes, and Beavis and Butthead, I don't know what it is about them, but I just laugh at them every single damn time.
I don't know. I mean, if you saw on the Discord server, if you're there, I was able to post, and I posted it for my son, Boobies and Kitties.
Oh.
I love that. Boobies, 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 boobies.
Yes. Now, see, I have an inner 12-year-old boy. Tim has an outer 12-year-old boy that I get to live with.
On that note.
So, well, Tim had a great idea this week. He's like, things are pretty shitty right now in the world. Why don't we each come up with 10 songs that make us really happy in some way?
Yeah, and because of everything going on, like I said, I want us to be your escape from the world. And now that doesn't mean that in maybe in this episode or future episodes we're not going to talk about important stuff, because we've done that throughout the history of the show. But I also think it's important to just be a little laid back and just talk about something fun and fun.
Because in most of the Western English-speaking world, we're about a month or so into like basically completely abnormal lives.
Yeah,
I think we're coming up on what we started at towards the beginning of March, and we're now almost to mid-April. Mm-hmm. So from talking to the people that some of my friends, like through text or online, there's a lot of people that are really, especially now that the weather's getting nice, there's a lot of people that are really having a hard time right now staying positive and like realizing that we're not being punished. We're trying to help everybody by staying sort of apart and not spreading this virus, because they've found that this coronavirus, it can be spread invisibly, and we really need to do what the officials, they're not lying to us. They're not trying to make our lives hard. They're trying to look out for the greater good.
Yeah.
We've had way too many people die from this already. We need to keep up our spirits and keep staying home. And if you're at home and you want to listen to something that's going to make you giggle, I think we can make you giggle.
Yeah. Now, with the list here, we both came up with 10 choices of songs that make us happy. Now, I got to ask, not for specific tracks, but overall, did you have a theme?
I didn't have a theme in mind. I was just like, okay, what song, if I hear it on the radio or if I put it on purpose, what does it make me feel? What does it make me want to do? So I picked songs that make me want to sing in the car, dance around the kitchen while I'm doing the dishes, if I'm like at work or something, just listening to it, it just kind of makes you just move your arms and hips around like you're dancing in your chair.
Move your booty.
Move your booty. Just stuff when you hear it, it just, you want to sing and stuff. And then after I listened to my picks a couple of times, I realized that some of mine are kind of coronavirus related. And it's not on purpose, it just is how it happened. But yeah, I picked songs where it's when I hear them, I just want to sing them, and I don't care who's watching.
Yeah, for me, I thought about the, I essentially went to the last minute in terms of getting my list together. But once I got the theme is that each song, it brings happy thoughts to me based on incidents that happen in my life.
And I could tell when I listened to your list that you were going for like things that evoke a happy memory, whereas I was going with things that make you want to do stuff and dance and be silly.
Yeah, so we'll go through it track by track here. Being that this is not a regular album, what we're going to do, I'll have you start off with your first track. I will go with mine, and we'll just bounce back and forth. Because one thing I told Kim, too, when we came up with the list is that we're going to give our opinion, but we're not. But being with the theme of these are happy songs,
we're not going to be
as in depth with it. So the reason I want to go back and forth is that I know for a couple of my tracks you're probably not going to have much to say with that edict. So it's I think to kind of keep it.
You know me so well.
To keep it varied, I think it's best if we just track and bounce back and forth.
That's totally cool.
Track number 1 for you.
For me, it's "Come Out and Play" by The Offspring, and
why'd you pick it?
I pick it because whenever I hear it, it starts out with a really. It's like you hear this like sort of with the drums, and then it's like this guitar bring bring bring, and as soon as I hear that bring 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 kind of noise right at the beginning, I'm like, oh, I like this song. I get all excited, and then I realize as I'm listening to this, like on the third time through the playlist, the chorus, you gotta keep them separated. I'm like, wait, I'm living that right now. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite songs to sing in the car and just rock out at the stoplight and hope I'm amusing the people in the car next to me.
Great song. I remember before this really hit it big on like the top charts, I remember watching Headbangers Ball on MTV with Ricky Rackman.
Oh God, Ricky Rackman. Do you remember when he had the long hair?
That's when I watched the era when I watched it.
God. And I was just like, I'd see him, I'm like, that long hair. And then when he cut it, I was like, damn,
you son of a bitch.
You fine.
God.
It's spring. Spring is in the air.
Ready for some loving, baby. But yeah, that's where I first saw that song. Offspring has some good choices. This is definitely one.
Yeah, for me with Offspring, I'm definitely a greatest hits kind of person, but this is like my favorite Offspring song just because I get so into it. Plus, it's on like either Rock Band or Guitar Hero. I really enjoyed playing it on those games.
All right. My first choice is from John Williams. It's Flying Theme from E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
One of my favorite movies. I was so excited when I saw you put this on your playlist. I like started listening to it when I was in the car today, driving to the dentist. And literally, it comes on, and I'm on the road, and I'm like, I'm flying! I'm flying!
This was the first movie I ever saw in theaters. My grandma actually brought me to it. It was the old UA Theater by North Kent Mall in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's closed down now. North Kent Mall was shocked to learn it's closed. I shouldn't say shocked because that mall, that part of town was stupid because what they did is they voted against having the Grand Rapids Public Transit System send any of their buses their way, and it killed the mall business dead.
Why would you do that? Because buses are the way. That's the only way kids are going to get to the theater and see movies on their own and stuff.
Yeah. So
wow.
It was a shame, but just
government short-sighted. What?
Thinking back, thinking back, to seeing it the first time. I also saw the 20th anniversary re-release. I saw it with my mother, and that was After her first brain surgery, we went to movies a lot, and just seeing it then, that was the they don't have that anymore. They only have the original now with the guns intact, but the re-released when they digitally took out the guns, that was one time I agreed with that, because if you think about it, do you think the FBI in the early 80s is going to start blasting away at upper middle class white kids? No, they're not. They wouldn't. They may do it today, but they were not going to do it in the 80s. And kind of seeing them with guns is kind of weird. But this music, this is just. I mean, John Williams. He is a national treasure. Genius. One of the greatest musicians of the 20th century.
Greatest composers, yes.
And just this evokes childhood.
It does.
This is the dreams that you have as a child. This just in music form, it encapsulates it. It's beautiful. It brings tears to your eyes.
And how many of us, after seeing E.T., wanted to have our own alien friend who would let us fly on our bikes?
I did. Her name was Colleen.
Oh.
What's your next track?
My next track is called "Just Like Heaven" from The Cure, and this is one of the songs by The Cure. It's one of their earlier works. It's one of those songs where I can't decide when I hear it if I want to get up and dance or if I want to cry. But mostly I hear it and I'm just like, I love this song, and I just like want to just dance and sing and jump around and be goofy and just remember how good some of the music from the 80s was.
Or you could do both. Cry.
Yeah. No, it'd be more like I'd be like dancing and singing and jumping around, and then I'd fall down and hurt myself, and then I would cry.
Owie, owie,
owie, owie.
Or be like that woman in that news report video who was like stomping grapes and then fell off the pink stage. Like, oh!
Or that one with that one video of Kelsey Grammer where he's just walking along talking on the stage, and then it's like, oh God, it falls off.
Or Sideshow Bob when he steps on the rake.
Okay.
All right, my next track is from Rick Derringer, Real American. And some people are like, what the fuck is that? That is Hulk Hogan's theme song.
Yeah, I heard it and I'm just like, I think this is a wrestling thing.
Yeah.
If not, it's definitely very red, white, and blue.
It's America porn.
Basically, yeah.
But again, the memories it brings back. Now, Hulk Hogan himself, once I grew up and once, media became what it is,
yeah,
and, celebrities' lives started, having hyper focus on it. I mean, even this week, he came out and just said something really stupid about, the coronavirus being sent by God. It's just like, shut the fuck up, you dumb motherfucker.
Yeah, it's just like,
but again, I think back to the good memories,
Yeah, the Hulkamania thing, and ripping off his shirt and being
February
goofy.
5th, 1988, when Hulk Hogan was screwed by Andre the Giant.
Oh God, not this
left
again.
me psychologically scarred. I will never watch The Princess Bride. There's no chance in hell.
Psychologically damaged, that's for sure.
Just how dare they? But yeah, just hearing this song brings me back. What's your next track?
Next track, Respect by Aretha Franklin. This is just
self-explanatory.
Yeah, I mean, you hear that R-E-S-B-C-T. You gotta belt it with her.
I was like, is Aretha here? What?
No, you gotta, and you hear it, you're just like, shock it to me, suck it to me, suck it to me, suck it to me, suck it to me. Just like, yes. And then, I was like trying to think of like a healthcare worker version of Respect to like make up a parody song the other day when I was really bored at work.
Apparently you were.
All right, so I work in a pharmacy. The problem with working in a pharmacy right now is you're either really slammed with people freaking out, or you work in a pharmacy like mine, where you're doing taking care of mostly patients who have like routine surgeries like hip replacements, knee replacements, things like that, surgeries that they are not doing right now. So we do not have as much work as we used to, so at night we're getting a little weird. And that weirdness extends to me listening to songs and rewriting the lyrics.
All right.
So there we go. And, R.E.S.P.C.T., Aretha Franklin, everybody knows this frickin' song.
Did you see the teaser trailer of the Aretha Franklin biopic starring Jennifer Hudson?
No, but I have to see it now that you've told me about it.
Yeah,
I love Jennifer Hudson.
It's just her essentially singing the opening lines to Respect.
Oh, God, and she is such a great singer. Oh, my God, I saw Dreamgirls with her singing. When she's singing, I'm telling you, I'm not going. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'm seeing that movie, and if you don't want to go, too bad. You're coming with me, buddy.
I'm scared. Wow.
Yeah, I tell you, those Easter candies.
Okay.
Happy Easter.
All right, my next track is from Aerosmith called Angel.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Aerosmith fan, but you know what? This is a good song.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would put Aerosmith in the greatest hits category. For folks that may be listening for the first time, I got bands that I absolutely love. I can listen to anything. I got bands that, if they put out a greatest hits album, I'm there. I'm going to buy it and I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
But some of their other minor tracks, not a big fan of. You got some bands like Taylor Swift. I like one song, that's pretty much it. And then you got bands I don't really care for. Aerosmith, I put in the greatest hits section. But to me, the reason this makes me happy is it always brings me back to the late 80s, Friday nights at 2 o'clock in the morning, watching Friday night videos on NBC. Because hearing this song, I can almost smell the 80s. And it's great when music can kind of evoke that in you.
Friday night videos. I wasn't allowed to stay up that late, so my mom would set up the VCR and tape it for us. Mm-hmm. And so, when you say that is what makes you think of Friday night videos, for me, it's The Reflex by Duran Duran. Because that was on one of those videotapes. Because then my sister and I would watch those hell out of those videotapes later. And just whenever I hear the flex, 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 flex at the beginning of that song by Duran Duran, I'm just like, yes! Yeah, I like Duran Duran too, but right. I didn't put them on my list.
What's your next track?
My next one
You're like the Dunkin' Donuts guy.
I know.
My next track is...
It's I've Got to Use My Imagination by Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Why'd you pick that one?
Well, because it's got an awesome groove. It's like the bass groove starts in your dun 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 dun. It's just, I know something good's about to happen is when you hear that bass line. But I saw... one of my favorite drag queens, Latrice Royale, did this song on a lip sync for Your Life on one of the more recent, I don't remember which season of Drag Race it was from. Anyway, I saw her do this song. It's like the perfect song for her. She's a great drag queen, and this is a great song. And she does an Aretha Franklin mashup that I've seen her do live. Fucking hell. Oh my God. So good. So good. So this song makes me happy because it makes me think of Latrice Royale. And Latrice Royale is amazing and you should check her out.
Boom. All right. My next track is from the Rolling Stones called Mixed Emotions off their Steel Wheels album. As I mentioned, the first bit of music I recall ever hearing and that made a lasting impact on me was Start Me Up from the Rolling Stones. Mm-hmm. But Steel Wheels was the first big release that I remember, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
It was late 80s, and I am not going to say Mixed Emotions will ever be in their pantheon of greatest songs ever, but for the late 80s, it's a damn good song, in a sense, especially too considering the two albums previously that they had released in the 80s. Much better and more on track compared to what they were. I could have put a couple of other tracks on there. Another one to check out that really means a lot too, that if anything is an honorable mention, is a Keith Richards song called Slipping Away. But Mixed Emotions, it's one of those deals, you put this in the car and just you're not the only one with mixed emotions, and it's one of those sing-along tracks,
sing-along driving song. Yeah, you can't go wrong with a sing-along driving song.
Damn right. What's your next one?
Sounds of Science by the Beastie Boys. This is the one that I rapped to in one
show.
of our previous episodes, the Paul's Boutique episode, if you want to check it out. Yes, I can rap. Sort of.
She's got the skills to pay the bills.
I have the skills to pay the bills. But yeah, this is my favorite track. off of my favorite Beastie Boys album. And every time I hear the beginning of it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna rap. Which I did in the car on the way home, and I was literally rapping along, and then I was scratching along too, you know. And I turn and I look, the person in the car next to me is like, what the hell? And I'm just like, yeah, I got a lot of energy for 6 a.m, don't I?
Coronavirus, bitch.
The coronavirus is making me crazy. All right, what's your next track, Tim?
My next track is A Day in the Life from the Beatles.
Oh, I love this song.
Yeah, now, before I bought the Sgt. Pepper album, I had run away from home, as I mentioned, at 16. I had been aware of the Beatles, but they were never like, oh my god, I didn't really hear them, if that makes sense. And, buying the Sgt. Pepper album and listening to it, Sgt. Pepper without A Day in the Life is a good album, not that memorable, but A Day in the Life just, that made my jaw drop.
Yeah.
The ending alone. It also brings me back to high school. There was a play that I auditioned for. I didn't get the part, but I ended up getting kind of like the sound guy of the play. And what I was able to recommend for the final scene of the play was that we play the orchestral part at the end of A Day in a Life. So I remember my friend Jay was supposed to help me go to my place to get my stereo equipment to bring it, but he was running late, and then the teacher was like, you're not going to be able to go get it, and but Jay showed up, and we were walking out the door, and then he turned and goes, oh no, I just have to go bring him out to my car for something. But we go out to his car, and then we drive to my place at literally 90 miles an hour and grab the stuff. And then, we come running in with the equipment just as the play is starting. They thought we had disappeared, and they started the play. But we got it going. But just A Day in the Life, an amazing song.
So my next track is Birdhouse in Your Soul by They Might Be Giants. And I like They Might Be Giants a lot. There's other songs by them that I had considered because when I hear them, I want to sing along. But this is the one I chose because this is the one that I have in my head. I want to get a tattoo based on this song because it's so weird and nonsensical, but I get this picture when I hear it of like these happy birds and a birdhouse with a light switch on the side and just all this weird stuff that would make a really fun tattoo.
Okay.
And I like to sing along to it. It's a cool song. I like this song a lot. That's why I chose it. It makes me happy.
Boom.
Boom.
All right. My next choice is from the Monkees.
I knew you were going to have this song. As soon as you came to me and said, hey, let's pick happy songs, I'm thinking, he's going to pick the Monkees and he's going to pick Porpoise Song.
Why did you think that?
Because I know how much you love the song.
Yeah. This song is it opens up their movie Head. And for my money, it's probably the best song the Monkees ever put to tape. It was written by Carole King, who in the 70s came out with the Tapestry album. She a prolific songwriter in
Very
her own
prolific.
right. A lot of classic songs from the 60s and 70s from a number of artists. She was responsible for, like, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman from Aretha Franklin. Carole King wrote that. But this song is just absolutely beautiful.
I like the song too.
Yep.
Not as much as you, I think, but I do like that song.
Yeah.
So I picked for my next song, If You Want to Sing Out by Cat Stevens, otherwise he's now known as Yusuf.
Yusuf Islam.
And this song is from the movie Harold and Maude, which is one of my favorite movies. And it's the song, basically, if you've never seen Harold and Maude, the situation is that Harold is this basically... It's from the 70s. I think it was released in 74? Anyway,
sounds about right.
70s. Vietnam is still a thing. And anyway, Harold is very emotionally stunted. He can't seem to connect with anybody. He likes to stage these suicide tableaus where he fakes suicide. And he's trying to get people to basically pay attention to him and to maybe listen to him. So he likes to also go to funerals, and Harold meets Maude at a funeral, and Maude is an older woman, probably, I think she turns 80 in the movie.
Oh,
And
I was going to say older woman. Hey, I'm like in the movie.
So she's trying to get Harold to kind of come out of his shell and be more himself, and show this that she sings this song to him when she takes him to her house for the first time. And she lives in like in a converted railroad car. It's the coolest house. It's a very cool movie. So she's banging away on the piano and trying to get him to sing this song, and then he finally gets into it, and she teaches him to play the banjo. And anyway, this song is Cat Stevens does the whole soundtrack for this movie. It's a great soundtrack, great movie. I love this song just because it talks about it talks about being happy. It's like, if you want to be happy, if you want to be free, be free. If you want to sing out, sing out. And I hear it and I want to sing out.
All right.
So that's why I chose it.
All right, my next track is from Motorhead, called "The Game."
Oh, this is a great song.
Yeah, this is actually a pro wrestling entrance.
It doesn't surprise me. I just hear it, and I honestly, it makes me think of like some of the streamers that I've watched on Twitch. This would be a good theme song for them.
Well, the reason I put it on this list, why it makes me happy, is that this song inspired my first book. My first book is called Time to Play the Game. I was initially going to call it The Game, but I thought, I didn't want it.
So many books called The Game.
Well, that, and I thought of the Michael Douglas movie from the 90s. But
I like that movie.
I did too, but I just didn't want to have that connotation with it. And I thought, with the fact that my first book, each chapter is an hour out of the day, 24 chapters, all takes place in one day. I remember the day I completed the first draft. I wrote it all by longhand.
Oh.
And it was about 4:30 in the morning, and I finally finished it. And, anybody who's written a book, whether it's gone to see the light of day or not, when you finally put the end on paper, it is an amazing feeling. And I ended up, crying like, I did it, so that will always bring a smile to my face. What's your next one?
Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars.
All right.
And Mark Ronson. I chose it because I hadn't heard the song really before until probably about maybe a year or two ago. And then somebody posted a video clip of a whole bunch of dancing scenes from old movies set to this song. I don't know if I'll go ahead and find that and link it on the Discord server.
All right.
But it's a really cool video because it shows you all these different scenes from all these musicals from like the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Some famous, some not so famous. But whoever did the editing on it, the footsteps on the videos match the beats exactly to the song. It's just it's called Uptown Funk. It's more like upbeat funk. And I hear it and I don't know, I just like singing along and I'm just all like do 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 do. I don't know. It's a good song. I like it. It makes me happy.
All right.
That was the reason. It makes me happy.
There's no better reason than that.
Yep.
and that's the beauty of, just making up a list, pick the songs that make you happy, because you can define that in any way you want.
Exactly.
All right, my next choice, we've actually discussed it on the show before, Won't Get Fooled Again from The Who.
This is a very classic Who song. It's one of the CSI theme songs.
CSI Miami.
Okay.
When you see that gif of David Caruso putting on
sunglasses
and
taking off sunglasses or putting on sunglasses.
He's walking in front of that car and it blows up, and you just, yeah! I mean,
Won't get fooled again!
I think, as I mentioned on the show before, seeing the movie The Kids Are All Right, and they sang this this is the last song that they sang live in that movie, which happened to also be the last time that the original lineup of the band played together, because Keith Moon died shortly after they filmed that. But just one of the most iconic images in rock music history at the end, when Roger's screaming and Pete's sliding across the stage on his knees, and that's great. And I just think back to when they came to Grand Rapids. I bought my ticket. I had a receipt with the ticket that says I had until June 26th to return it. June 27th, John Entwistle died.
Oh, no!
But they went on with the tour. The show wasn't canceled. Obviously, if you heard the Who's Next episode that we did, I was able to play a track from that very concert that I went to. But just Won't Get Fooled Again. Speaking of my books, this song ended up inspiring my second book, because the lyrics at the end, and I didn't mention this in review of when we first talked about it. This is a great anti-war song. Because especially with the ending lyrics, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Kind of, a lot of times you have charismatic leaders that, take over and promise change. And then before you know it, they become just as corrupt as the old leaders.
Yeah. Also, that line right there just summarizes when you work somewhere and you go through a merger and you get a new boss. Okay. Go through another merger. Okay.
Same as the old
boss.
boss.
New name, difference. Same new name, same old shit.
Yeah. All right, what's your next one?
My next one is Mambo Italiano by Rosemary Clooney.
George Clooney's aunt.
George Clooney's aunt, yes. I've done this song at karaoke. I like singing this song in the car. I like singing this song. And that's why I chose it, because I like karaoke. I haven't done karaoke, and that's another thing we should do once this stupid pandemic is over. We should go do karaoke somewhere.
Well, Professor Aubrey mentioned that, because Discord has the option for voice.
Right, they do have they have like a karaoke. I know we have karaoke bots on the one for my LGBTQ guild.
Yeah, so if we're able to get enough people together, then we can do karaoke on our Discord server.
We could do that. But I was thinking, actually traditionally going to a bar and getting a drink.
I would need to get drunk.
Well, I don't need to get drunk to do karaoke.
Well,
I'll do karaoke sober, but, one drink, you loosen up just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Now we're back to Aretha. But I guess I shouldn't eat candy before we record.
Well, it crushed up and snorted.
The only thing that goes up my nose these days is Nasonex for my allergies.
You did cocaine before?
No, I've never done cocaine. I stay away from
Say hello to my little friend.
I am not Tony Montana or whatever his name was. Is that the right name?
Say hello to the bad guy.
Say hello to my bag of candy. What's your next track?
The finest from Colombia.
That's your next track?
No.
Okay. What's your next track?
A couple days ago, thanks to Facebook Memories, remembered that my good friend Stephanie told me that she was diagnosed with stage 4 uterine cancer.
Oh, God.
And someone I knew for well over a decade. She was family, in kind of a sister from another mister type of deal. But last year when I did the tribute show for her, I ended the show with this song, "Rainbow Connection," from the Muppet movie.
I love this song so much.
Yeah, written by the great Paul Williams. This song, just when I hear it, it reminds me of Stephanie, because if you knew her, you would understand why, because she was always positive, she was always strong, but she just, beautiful song, beautiful soul, and I couldn't, I had to add this, because even though it's sad that we're getting very close to the anniversary where she sadly passed away, I think what the duty of the living is to make sure that the memories of fallen comrades are honored. And Stephanie would not want me moping around. She'd want me happy, and she'd want me, to, go on. And this song kind of does that for me.
That's really sweet. He's got me all choked up. He's got me overclimped.
Like butter.
You nerd.
It's not like I said, Jesus.
Oh, God, Tim. Oh, man, this has been a whirlwind of an episode. Holy cow.
The emotions.
No kidding. All right, so my last track is the song "Ask" by the Smiths. And I knew if I picked a Smith song, you were gonna do the freaking Morrissey wail that you like to do. But no, I like this song because it's super upbeat for the Smiths. That's saying something. It's super upbeat. It's really catchy, and you just
I'm gonna kill myself with a smile.
No, it's all it's just really upbeat. It's like, ask me, bum, 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 bum. Yeah, and anyway, and I am justified in liking this song because yesterday on my guild leader's Twitch stream, we all put in songs. She has theme nights. And it was 80s last night. Somebody requested the song and it wasn't me. I was just like, I heard the song, like, oh, somebody else likes the song. Oh my god. But yeah, it makes me happy.
All right, my last one. I was reminded of it. I mean, and this song is already on my playlist, but I was reminded the other day on Twitter, somebody posted some audio of audience reaction of the portals scene in Avengers Endgame from opening night, and so the track that closes out my list is from Alan Silvestri from the Avengers Endgame soundtrack. That's called Portals, and just hearing this, I think back to opening night. That was, as far as movie theaters go, it was the most beautiful experience I've ever been involved with, because just the 11 years of filmmaking came down to this fight scene, and my God, Marvel knocked it out of the park.
And this is another song. It comes on. I was listening to this in the car today, and it came on, and I was just like, wow, this sounds really epic in my car with the speakers. I'm driving down the highway.
I mean, the drums.
Just like, boom. I'm like, whoa, this is just driving excitement.
Yeah, just everything. The movie's great. The scene itself is great. I even included it in episode 100.
I know.
You're like, I know. She's not a fan of little audio clips before the show starts.
What can I say?
Yeah, but no, just. I had to include this because, thinking back on that memory of, watching Avengers Endgame opening night, just, how the audience reacted in so much passion, so much joy, just seeing, I remember the two young ladies, they barely 20, that were a couple seats in front of me in Sterling. They were openly weeping. I was weeping like a baby when this music, first started hitting the slow part. I was like, oh, this is so great. And then dun 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 dun. It's like built up, and then it's like, yeah. After Captain America says Avengers Assemble, and just absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
Yep. So.
That was like a big, like, everything has come down to this kind of moment. And what is this? Silvestri?
Alan Silvestri.
That's right.
Did Back to the Future.
Yeah, he's another great score master, along with
John Williams.
John Williams. God, I'm just losing my mind tonight. I think the sugar's starting to wear off.
Give her more jelly beans.
More jelly beans. No. Yeah, he's another one who can. I mean, seriously, a score is what makes or breaks a movie a lot of the time. I mean, you got to have good actors, a good script, and a good score.
Yeah.
It's really what it comes down to. And when you have someone with that much talent scoring a movie that means so much to so many people, I mean, and God, wouldn't you just love to go to the movies right now? I know I would.
All right.
Wow. This was
done.
An exhausting episode for me, I tell you. I've been
roller
up
coaster
and down,
ride of emotions.
Roller coaster. Whew. Boy,
We almost had a sex scene as well.
Well, hopefully you, the listener, have enjoyed this. And if you want to check out our playlists, they have been posted. They're on Spotify.
And our Discord server.
And our Discord server. You can find them.
On the music channel.
On the music channel. And yes, I believe we're coming to a close of this episode. So next time, are we going to finally do that Motorhead album you promised, or no? It wasn't Motorhead. It was Black Sabbath.
No,
or are we gonna? Am I supposed to just pick something out of my hat right now? Because I am unprepared.
Up to you. I mean, at this point, you can. It's your choice, but you can. at this point, I think going forward, I liked creating playlists. So it's like you can either pick an album or you can pick a theme, and then we can do a playlist off of that theme.
Well, why don't we could just, I don't know, honestly. I think I'm going to have to think about this. Possibly after I've had a good night's sleep.
Or a lot more jelly beans.
Or either more sugar or more sleep.
Yeah. All right, then we'll keep everybody up to date. Well, we'll announce it on Discord.
Sure.
It's a little too late to do a poll at this point, I think, but
yeah, we'll figure some out. We'll figure something out. But we'll let you know.
We'll still have music for next week.
Yes.
And in the coming days, we'll be wrapping up the Fantastic Four radio show.
Oh.
And I definitely would love some feedback if people like that, because there's a lot of the Fantastic Four. The reason I'm able to play that, it has a Creative Commons license, so as long as I don't modify the track or use it in a commercial purpose, I can do what I want with it. So that's why I'm able to release something that, still has a copyright owned by Disney at this point. But there are other old-time radio shows that are amazing that actually are in the public domain, like Jack Benny, Lone Ranger type of stuff. And, if people are interested, I can still keep on putting up some old-time radio shows to keep you busy while you're waiting for the next episode of Friends Talking Nerdy.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, and if you do like the radio shows, the old-time radio shows, you can always go to our Discord and give us an idea of what you would like to hear, and if I'm able to find it, we can post it.
I got nothing else to say.
All right.
Except maybe goodbye. We'll see you next time.
And remember,
it's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside, and when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling. The feeling you know that I'll be back when the day is new. And I'll have more ideas for you. And you'll have things you'll want to talk about. I will too. You always make each day such a special day. You know how? By just your being you. Only one person in the whole world like you. That's you yourself. I'll be back next time. Bye-bye.
Subscribe to Friends Talking Nerdy on iTunes, the Google Play Music Store, as well as Spotify. Remember to support Friends Talking Nerdy on Patreon. Goodbye, darling.